Roman-Germanic Wars, Conflict and Reconciliation. The Roman-Germanic Wars were a centuries-long saga of confrontation, adaptation, and eventual fusion between two contrasting civilizations. Rome's imperial ambitions clashed with the Germanic tribes' fierce independence, creating a conflict that was as much ideological as it was military. Yet, over time, this prolonged struggle gave way to a surprising reconciliation, with the Germanic peoples becoming heirs to Roman traditions and integral to the formation of medieval Europe. Prologue: Opposing worlds. Rome and Germania represented opposing forces. Rome was a beacon of centralized authority, advanced infrastructure, and a highly organized military. Germania, by contrast, was a land of dense forests, tribal autonomy, and fluid power structures. To Rome, Germania was a frontier to be tamed, a land of opportunity but also a source of persistent danger. To the Germanic tribes, Rome was a double-edged sword, offering wealth and culture, but threatening their sovereignty and way of life. This dynamic set the stage for centuries of conflict. Part 1: The Age of Confrontation. Early conflicts. The Cimbric Wars, 113 to 101 BCE. The first major clashes between Rome and the Germanic tribes occurred during the Cimbric Wars, as the Cimbri and Teutons migrated southward into Roman territory. These confrontations exposed Rome's vulnerability to large, mobile tribal groups. Battle of Arezzo, 105 BCE, a devastating Roman defeat that highlighted the unpreparedness of Rome's forces against the Germanic tribes. Battle of Vercelli, 101 BCE, Gaius Marius' reformed Roman army decisively defeated the Cimbri, marking the first of many Roman victories over migrating tribes. The campaigns of Augustus, 12 BCE 9 CE. Under Emperor Augustus, Rome sought to extend its influence into Germania. Generals like Drusus and Tiberius led ambitious campaigns, building forts and establishing temporary Roman control over parts of Germania. Key developments: construction of the Limes Germanicus, a defensive network of forts and roads. Initial successes that expanded Roman influence east of the Rhine. The turning point: the Battle of Teutoburg Forest, 9 CE. The ambush at Teutoburg Forest, orchestrated by Arminius, a Germanic leader with Roman military training, marked a catastrophic defeat for Rome. 3 legions under Varus were annihilated, forcing Rome to abandon its plans for Germanic conquest. Significance: established the Rhine as Rome's effective northern boundary. Elevated Arminius as a symbol of Germanic resistance. Triggered a shift in Roman strategy from expansion to defense. The Long Frontier Wars, 14 to 180 CE. In the aftermath of Teutoburg, Rome engaged in a prolonged series of frontier conflicts to maintain control over the Rhine and Danube regions. Campaigns of Germanicus, 14 to 16 CE. Germanicus led punitive expeditions into Germania, recovering lost legionary standards but failing to re-establish Roman dominance. Marcomannic Wars, 166 to 180 CE. Marcus Aurelius repelled invasions by the Marcomanni and Quadi, securing the Danube frontier at great cost. Part 2: The Age of Migration and Collapse. The Huns and the Germanic migrations, 4th to 5th centuries CE. The arrival of the Huns in Europe displaced many Germanic tribes, driving them into Roman territory. This migration led to increased tension and eventual conflict between Rome and the Germanic peoples. Key events: Visigothic Revolt, 376 CE. Mistreatment of the Visigoths within Roman borders led to the Battle of Adrianople, 378 CE, where the Goths decisively defeated Roman forces. The sack of Rome, 410 CE, led by Alaric, the Visigoths looted Rome, marking a symbolic turning point in the decline of the Western Roman Empire. Germanic kingdoms replace Rome. As the Western Roman Empire disintegrated, Germanic tribes established kingdoms across its former territories. Odoacer's rule in Italy, 476 CE, the deposition of Romulus Augustulus by Odoacer marked the end of the Western Roman Empire. Theodoric the Great and the Ostrogoths. Theodoric ruled Italy, blending Roman governance with Germanic traditions. The Franks under Clovis I, Clovis unified the Frankish tribes and converted to Christianity, aligning his kingdom with the Roman Church. Part 3. The Age of Reconciliation. Cultural integration. Despite their conflicts, Rome and Germania influenced each other profoundly. Over centuries, the two civilizations blended, giving rise to a shared European heritage. Roman influence on Germania. Germanic leaders adopted Roman administrative practices, law, and infrastructure. Christianity, spread by Roman missionaries, became the dominant faith among Germanic peoples. Germanic contributions to Rome. Germanic federates served in Roman armies, bringing their own military traditions. Germanic law codes and customs influenced the development of medieval European governance. The role of the Church. The Roman Church played a crucial role in reconciling Rome and Germania. As Germanic rulers converted to Christianity, they aligned themselves with Roman religious institutions, preserving Roman cultural and intellectual traditions. Clovis' conversion, 496 CE, marked a turning point in the integration of Germanic tribes into Roman Christian society. Missionary efforts. Figures like Saint Boniface worked to convert pagan Germanic tribes, reinforcing ties between the Roman Church and Germanic kingdoms. The crowning of Charlemagne, 800 CE. The crowning of Charlemagne as Holy Roman Emperor by Pope Leo III symbolized the culmination of Roman-Germanic reconciliation. Charlemagne's empire blended Roman governance, Christian faith, and Germanic warrior culture. Key achievements: revival of Roman cultural and administrative practices, expansion of Christianity into Germania, the establishment of the Holy Roman Empire as a successor to Rome. Epilogue: the legacy of conflict and reconciliation. The Roman-Germanic Wars were more than a series of battles. They were a transformative period in European history. Out of the ashes of conflict emerged a new cultural and political order, where the Roman and Germanic worlds merged to create the foundations of medieval Europe. Key legacies: cultural synthesis. Roman law, language, and religion blended with Germanic customs to form the bedrock of European civilization. The Holy Roman Empire, a direct result of Roman-Germanic fusion, the empire symbolized the enduring influence of both traditions. The unfolding reconciliation, the post-war transformation. The reconciliation between Rome and the Germanic tribes was not a sudden event, but a gradual process shaped by necessity, shared challenges, and mutual adaptation. It unfolded through political alliances, cultural exchanges, and religious integration, forging a new European identity. 1. Political adaptation: Germanic kings as Roman successors. As the Western Roman Empire fell in 476 CE, Germanic rulers inherited the administrative and cultural framework of Rome. While they dismantled Roman political structures, they preserved many of its key elements, reshaping them to suit their needs. Odoacer, 433 to 493 CE. The first king of Italy after the fall of the Western Roman Empire, Odoacer retained Roman administrative systems to govern his newly acquired territory. He presented himself as a steward of Roman traditions, bridging the old and new orders. Theodoric the Great, 454 to 526 CE. The Ostrogothic king of Italy ruled as a Roman-style emperor. Theodoric preserved Roman laws, protected its infrastructure, and maintained a multi-ethnic court, symbolizing the fusion of Germanic and Roman governance. Clovis I, 466 to 511 CE. Clovis' unification of the Frankish tribes and his conversion to Christianity solidified his role as both a Germanic chieftain and a successor to Roman authority. His acceptance of Roman Church support gave the Franks legitimacy and strengthened their ties to Rome's legacy. 2. Cultural exchange: the synthesis of traditions. The centuries of conflict between Rome and Germania fostered deep cultural exchanges, which reshaped both civilizations and laid the foundation for the Middle Ages. Romanization of Germanic tribes. Germanic rulers adopted Latin as the language of administration, Roman law for governance, and Roman architectural styles for their cities and palaces. The development of written Germanic law codes, such as the Lex Salica of the Franks, was heavily influenced by Roman legal principles. Germanic influence on Rome. Germanic tribal structures and concepts of kinship influenced the feudal systems that emerged in post-Roman Europe. Germanic warrior culture became a defining feature of medieval European identity, blending with Roman military traditions to create new forms of chivalry and knighthood. 3. Religious integration. Christianity as a unifying force. Christianity played a central role in reconciling Rome and Germania. As Germanic rulers converted to Christianity, they became part of a larger Roman Christian world that transcended the political fragmentation of the early medieval period. The role of the Roman Church. The Church acted as the custodian of Roman culture, preserving texts, laws, and traditions that were passed on to the Germanic kingdoms. Missionaries like St. Boniface spread Christianity throughout Germania, aligning the tribes with Roman spiritual and cultural values. Christianizing Germanic customs. Germanic festivals and practices were incorporated into Christian traditions, facilitating the tribe's integration into the Roman Christian world. Pagan temples were replaced by churches, and tribal leaders became Christian kings, blending spiritual and temporal authority. The formation of the Holy Roman Empire. The crowning of Charlemagne in 800 CE by Pope Leo III marked the symbolic culmination of Roman-Germanic reconciliation. His empire embodied the union of Roman administrative traditions, Germanic leadership, and Christian faith. Charlemagne's reign, 742 to 814 CE. Charlemagne unified much of Western Europe, combining Roman governance with Germanic warrior traditions. His promotion of education and the arts sparked the Carolingian Renaissance, which revived classical Roman culture. The Holy Roman Empire. Charlemagne's empire evolved into the Holy Roman Empire, a political entity that claimed to revive the Roman Empire's legacy while embracing Germanic political decentralization. The empire's longevity reflected the enduring fusion of Roman and Germanic traditions. Legacy of conflict and reconciliation. The Roman-Germanic wars were not only a struggle for territorial dominance but also a crucible for cultural transformation. The legacy of these conflicts is evident in the foundations of modern Europe. 1. The birth of medieval Europe. The blending of Roman and Germanic elements created a new cultural and political order, characterized by feudalism, a system rooted in Germanic tribal customs and Roman land ownership practices. The Christian kingdom. Germanic rulers